Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me? I am just the right mix of warm, cozy, and downright indignant. Today's show contains not one but two stories that should not be stories at all, but stories they most certainly are, and they shine a light onto some of the more unpleasant aspects of what used to be called Great Britain. I couldn't think of a question of the day to match my current mood, so while I fetch my soapbox, let's roll the intro and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It's Thursday, the 27th of January, and as that remarkably persistent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, makers of self-drive vehicles could face sanctions in the event of UK accidents. Sandvik makes an impact. We have a solution to a problem that shouldn't exist. A rare Belgian giraffe is spotted in the wild, and if the gods of technology are smiling down upon us, we will be joined on the show by our roving reporter, Mr. Peter Haddock. We'll also be revisiting the red diesel debate in our after-show chat, so be sure to stick around for that. We'll get to all of that in just a second, but first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! And it's many happy returns to composer and prodigy Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and to Alice in Wonderland author Lewis Carroll, to great train robber Buster Edwards, Pink Floyd drummer Nick Mason, and to the superb American news presenter Keith Olbermann. But far more importantly, happy birthday to Mr. Mike Patton, frontman with the band Faith No More and one of the finest singers ever to bellow into a microphone. And if you don't believe me, go and listen to the song Ashes to Ashes. It's absolutely glorious, and you can thank me later. Many happy returns to them, one and all. Now, if my eyes and ears don't deceive me, our roving reporter Peter Haddock from Content with Media is waiting in the wings. So while I bring him onto the show, let's hear his theme tune. Good morning,
hello,
Peter.
Mark.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, Mark. I'm here with two very important things. This thing, which is well, it's a camera, and this thing, which actually shows me what this camera is doing when I'm inside the cab. And I'm here with John. No, sorry, that's not John. This is John from Safety Shield. We're all about safety here today, Mark. And I've been doing my future tour around the country, where I've been talking to countrysides, head of health and safety. I've also gone to speak to Jeremy Fish, the CEO of Ardent Hire Solutions. And I've also been to the council and Eurovia, all to talk about how they're using safety shield systems and how they're enhancing their safety with AI, artificial intelligence, not augmented reality. John, how does it actually work, though? Because, I'm holding these two pieces. What's it all about?
Right, so Safety Shield is basically an artificial intelligence, as you say, Peter, solution to stop collisions associated with people and plant interface. So there's no sensors or tags or radars. It's a camera-based system that, as you can see on the machine, which is recognising the human shape. So we set zones around the machine based on existing red zone training, so it ties in with the red zone training that's being carried out on the site at the moment. So it's usually about 4 meters around the plant. So if somebody encroaches in that red zone, the driver gets an alert, like you say, in the cab, warns him that there's a collision could be imminent, and then he can apply the brakes and take the necessary action to stop the collision happening. But on top of that, every alert that's generated by the system goes back to our data center, which is Safety Shield View. So we get time, date, location, and a small video clip before, during, and after each alert. And that's the most important thing, to be honest, because that is a very powerful tool which helps sites and managers change behaviour on site.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, Mark. These devices and the clips, most importantly, that come from these, where in the data center just to the right of me, they're the things that actually people can see. So instead of your toolbox talk PowerPoint presentation snooze, I'm ready to go on site. This is real life stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is actually showing, in this case today, I'll be doing some filming with the dummy, and then I'm going to actually step foot into an extended rate zone, so I'm pretty safe to see it happening for real life. But it really is, you know, something that is completely changing behaviours. Once you see how that acts, and once you see the alerts, you change things, don't you?
Yeah.
So you've gone out there, and in a matter of a week, so the system's in there with some of the clients, they do a toolbox talk about how it all works. Then you go back a sort of week later and
Yeah.
show it again, don't you?
Yeah, we do work with the customers. It's not just giving them the tools to access the data portal and leave them to it. So we work and engage with the customers. So, for example, like you just said, we'll run the system for a week. We get the footage and the alerts generated if it's a new customer to show them what's happening on site. And even with experienced gangs, you'll be surprised they don't actually realise what's going on around that item of plant. At the end of that week, we'll go in, do a toolbox talk with the customer, with the site team as well, which is the most important thing. Show them exactly what's happening. In some cases, then we've gone back a week later after that toolbox talk, and we've had up to nearly 90% reduction in red zone incursions within a 2-week period. Which that's how powerful the data is, and it's not a case, like I say, of just giving them the access to the data and letting them walk away with it. We need to work with the customer to be able to come to site and show them what's happening on the site, not just leave them to look at it themselves, because that's how powerful it can be. And a 90% reduction is a huge reduction in alerts on site.
And Mark, I'm going to come in this is a really important thing for me, Mark. This means that people are going to be safer. They're going to go home safely every day, and they're going to see how that impact comes on site. And that's all we need to do in the industry, Mark. You know, productivity, efficiency all comes when you can get your plant moving. You have an accident, you maim somebody, you kill somebody, you know, that stays with the operator for life. But also, we're completely shut down. And you know, these sort of systems using modern technology that's visually saying this is actually what happened right here at 10:10, bang, there you go. Let's learn, let's change. And you know, this is why I've been on this future tour, and my future tours are all about the Future Works, the event that's happening on the 30th and the 31st of March at the Peterborough East Midlands showground. And Mark, I'll be there, and so will Safety Shield, so you can actually see this in action as well. So exciting stuff, Mark. I love technology, but I love it when it saves lives.
That's superb, Peter. Thanks ever so much for coming into the show.
Worries.
In actual fact, we've got more technology to talk about, so I'm going to let you get back to the day job. But thanks to you, thanks to John, and thanks to Bob the dummy stood beside you. Have a great day.
No problem, Mark. It's great to come live into the show. Have a good day.
Self-drive car makers and presumably by default self-drive equipment makers could be held responsible for crashes involving their vehicles. Let me just get this playing. This is where technology doesn't always work exactly as you would hope. Hopefully the music isn't too loud because I can't control it. Yeah, this idea of sanctioning companies that are involved in the construction or the manufacture of self-driving vehicles. That is the suggestion from law commissioners covering England, Wales and Scotland, who are calling for Parliament to regulate vehicles that drive themselves. There is a clear distinction, it says, between the features that assist drivers, such as adaptive cruise control, and vehicles that are fully self-driving. Under their proposals, when a car is authorised by a regulatory agency as having self-driving features and those features are in use, the person in the driving seat would no longer be responsible for how the car drives. Instead, the company that obtained the authorization, most likely the vehicle manufacturer, would face sanctions in the case of accident or malfunction. If these rules are passed, the person in the driving seat would no longer be considered a driver, but a user in charge, who could not be prosecuted for offences that arose directly from the driving task. That would mean driver immunity from offences including speeding, passing through a red light, and even dangerous driving. Those proposals have been put forward, I'm just going to remove that, been put forward at a time when a US court is examining a fatal accident involving a Tesla car that was operating on autopilot at the time of the incident. In the US, it currently appears that the car manufacturer will not be held responsible, at least in this instance. Now, I realise that most demolition and construction workers are probably not travelling to and from site in Tesla supercars. However, autonomous equipment is already in use within the mining sector, and the technology could easily see similar machines within both demolition and construction. But if equipment manufacturers might be held responsible for an incident involving one of their machines long after it's been bought and paid for, could they then decide that the risk is simply too great? I will add to this a list of I'll add this actually to the list of discussion points for our Saturday social show, which will be on the subject of technology, friend or foe. We'd love to get your input because that show starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Axoft and Sandvik are your high-end partners for noise, vibration, dust and air quality systems, sensors and software. To find out more, visit axoft.co.uk or call 01234 639 550.
I'd like to play you a short film. It's a video that demonstrates a really simple piece of technology that could conceivably make a significant contribution to public safety, all of which is great, and hats off to everyone involved. But I think this video raises a far more important point. Take a look at this.
Bins, I've never been bins in particular because they're sheltered. It's kind of warm, nobody knows you're there.
So you can see the driver as he starts to lift the container, and then it disappears from the view from the front camera over the top of the cab, and then the other camera you get is looking into the hopper. And as you can see from this video, despite doing all the checks we can, there was still somebody in this container.
Because it does happen, and it has happened, and that's why you just got to be aware of it. You just got the chances of someone being in there maybe minimum, but they could be in there.
Right. First of all, congratulations to Total Waste Solutions and the circular charitable economy. That is superb use of technology. But just to be clear, that technology has been developed specifically to deal with the problem of people taking shelter in bins. I'll say that again. We, a supposedly first world nation, have people sleeping in bins and in sufficient numbers to require a technological solution. Now, regular viewers of the show will know that my soapbox doesn't usually get deployed until after the main part of the show, but developing technology to detect people sleeping in bins is like handing out condoms at the teenage abortion centre. It's too late, and it doesn't actually address the actual issue. I was already staggered that in 2022 the UK currently has more than 2,000 food banks. The fact that we also have people forced to sleep in waste bins should be a source of shame for politicians across the land. The national media here is currently fixated on government parties during the COVID lockdown. Surely, people sleeping in bins is far more serious. And just for the record, I am personally ashamed that I didn't even realise that this problem even existed. Crushers are an item of equipment that we feature very rarely here on the Breakfast Show, but when Sandvik unveils a new model, well, it's sure to be of interest to the demolition and quarrying sectors. And the company has just lifted the lid on its new QI353, a 400 tonne per hour impact crusher. Let's take a look. If you'll pardon the pun, Sandvik are absolutely crushing it. If you're a demolition contractor who can get to Winchester economically and without adversely impacting your carbon footprint, then we have something for you. Peter Simons College has set aside 2.7 million of your finest English quids to build a new 2-storey classroom building, and Havant-based Askia Construction have been given the green light for the construction portion of the works. But before they can stick a shovel in the ground, there is a small matter of removing a set of existing changing rooms. And at the time of broadcast, a suitable demolition contractor has yet to be appointed. You can find out more about this project lead and countless more just like it over at buildersconference.co.uk. Alternatively, if you'd like to know how to get leads like this injected directly into your inbox, then please call Nigel O'Sullivan on the number that is now showing at the foot of the screen. We wouldn't get our facts and figures anywhere else. And speaking of facts and figures, I checked very quickly this morning, and I can tell you that the BC Live League table is currently standing at a very impressive £5.9 billion. That's above the established £4 billion baseline, and there's still a few days of the month remaining. Looks like Builders Conference CEO Neil Edwards will be in positive mood when he's on the show he is on the show on Tuesday, so tune in to find out more.
The Miller GT series heralds a new era of unrivaled power and cutting-edge intelligent coupler technology, increasing job site safety, machine versatility, and productivity. It's the added versatility that you need at the value you can afford. To find out more, visit millergroundbreaking.com.
Picture the scene. You're in Belgium. You're driving through a quiet village on the outskirts of Antwerp or Bruges. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the promise of Belgian waffles and Belgian beer awaits just around the next bend in the road. and then something catches your eye through the trees. It's tall enough, and it's the right colour. But could it really be a giraffe? I can't help thinking that colour scheme will be better suited to a high reach rather than a long reach.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that should do us for today. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around, stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends and your colleagues, and maybe spare a thought for those currently forced to seek shelter in bins. And thanks for watching. But if you do have the time, I'll see you on the other side of this.